Hello, everybody, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, your executive producer here, and thanks for tuning in to watch or listen to whatever it is you're about to watch or listen to. In these trying times, we really do appreciate everyone that feels that we are worth their time, and we hope that we're able to give you something entertaining to while away the time as you spend it. We particularly want to thank those of you that feel like we're worth financially contributing to, particularly our $25 and up supporters on Patreon, who are Antitonic, Drevian Alexander, Cat Waterflame, Rowan Parker, and Samantha Bates. Yes, I read that off of a list. Thank you very much for supporting us. I know that in these uncertain times, finances are tough for everybody, so that you're willing to donate to us means a lot to all of us here, and we thank you. That being said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're live.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Lancer Perseus Endeavors.
Lancius Lurcier Endeavors.
Yeah, exactly that one. Words are easy. I'm Cody, GM for today's game. Joining me today is John.
I'm John. I'm playing Oni, piloting the IPSN Blackbeard Yuki.
And William.
Hi, I'm William, and I am playing Valkyrie, piloting the Horus Balor Sigrun.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm playing Maul, piloting the ISPN call sign Baba Yeager.
And Andrew.
Hello, I'm Andrew, and I'm playing Sparky, piloting the SSC Emperor Lazuli.
And in the previous session, there was a bit of a commotion in the town as those damn kids got a hold of shit they shouldn't have. But before that, the company had a run-in with a group of Hollyhock Raiders that they summarily dismantled after a hard-fought fight and came away with a captive. We're going to pick up after the events that unfolded in the town previously, or on the previous night. So you guys have returned all your mechs back into your ship, left repairs, any that had to be done for today, and
You mean like the rebuilding of the Sigrun, because I had you guys smash it last time?
yes, that's the most extensive. Everybody else is pretty much lightly, the repairs are probably going to be done by the end of the day. The Sigrun is going to take a little bit longer to get the repairs back underway, especially after you just got done.
It won't take as long as people think because the Balor regenerates.
Yeah, it's mostly just getting the systems back online so that the regeneration starts to take place.
So it just starts to put itself back together.
Yeah.
Just put the rebuilder engine on and then go make a coffee.
It's got a bit of repairs to go before you can get the regenerative nanotechs up. I did rip its arm off.
Yeah, you'll have to reattach that and then get the systems back in place and then let the Sigrun take a nap.
Just like if there was any mech you were gonna completely demolish, the Balor, it's fine.
But yeah, so we're picking up there. What do you guys wish to do?
So I am down in the brig with our prisoner.
Yep. When you head down there, he is laying back on the cot, napping, or pretending to nap. You not quite.
We
sure,
haven't
but
fed him since we captured him, for whatever that's worth.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I would hope so because it had been a few days before the events.
He doesn't. It's okay. He'll live for a few days without food.
All right, then.
There's no Geneva Conventions in space.
So Oni didn't feed him.
Valkyrie probably would have made sure he had at least something to eat.
Damn it.
Okay.
Also, you might be able to go a few days without food, but you can't go a few days without water.
You can go 3 days without water and a week without food.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely had water.
Yeah.
Maul has floated the suggestion that maybe if we don't feed him, Oni should take down a big lunch and eat it himself while questioning him.
I can do that.
It's like a big old
Valkyrie
sandwich.
wouldn't have given him much. It would have been like, here's a small ration bar so you don't die.
So
Like you have half a sandwich. Give it to him if he answers the questions.
Sparky would probably have left this to you three
actually,
to figure out.
I'm gonna be the angry one in the room, so one of you could come down with me and eat the food behind me.
Sure,
Like a mall activity.
I mean, yeah, it kind of does.
Ma comes in first with a lawn chair, sets it up.
Lawn chair, big plate, like two halves of a sandwich, pickle, inexplicably little umbrella sticking out of the one half of the sandwich, and just a big old mason jar of clear liquid that is definitely not water.
After Ma is set up, then Oni comes in. You know, still I'm in my flight suit for this, so you know, you got the sort of tattered but cool looking cloak and weapon on hip and sword on back. Walk right up to I imagine it's like a energy barrier cell rather than like a bard cell.
This one is a little bit of a mixture of both. There are physical bars, but like you can't. If you try to stick your hand through it, there is a bit of a shock as soon as anything tries to go in between.
Cool. Yeah, walk up to
And
the side.
It stings.
Hit the switch that turns on the lights in the cell. It goes from dark to bright.
Damn it! I was sleeping.
Yeah, I know. Do I recognize this one?
This one you recognized as mech, but you never actually physically saw them. Like
Who was the pilot of the mech?
Reese
Yeah, that's right. So just
Reese Jarvis.
out loud then. You Reese?
Nope, got the wrong guy.
Well, got the wrong guy. Then I guess I'll just leave you in there. Reese is the one that I need to ask questions of.
Well, shit, you could let me out.
No. But if you're not Reese, I don't have any reason to keep you alive. So
Maul's in the background just going,
So let me ask again. Reese?
What?
That's better. So, couple of questions. One, how did you all know that I was still alive? And two, how'd you find us here?
First, what do I get?
To live.
Where?
Here. I'm sure the people of this town that you threatened to destroy will be nice and happy to take you in.
I didn't threaten anybody.
Well, you didn't personally, no. But I've got the message. What was the person who contacted us again?
Thurnival.
Yeah. But I've got the message from Thurnival.
Yeah, she's one for theatrics.
Yeah.
Well, was.
So if I don't like the answers you give me, I'll leave you here with the magistrate of this colony that also has the message from Thurnival. If I do like what you have to say, I'm sure we can find a nice, nondescript space station that we can drop you off at on our way past.
And see him kind of mulling it over in his head and kind of snaps through his teeth. All right. What were the questions again?
How'd you know I was still alive? And how'd you find us here?
Oh, we didn't know it was you specifically, but we had, well, our employers had a standing bounty for any survivors of our little tussle. And you got flagged back about, let's see, 3 or so weeks ago, maybe a month. I don't know.
By the chicken shit that ran away. Got it.
No, it was one of the fellas that used to run with us. He didn't run so much as when instead of an emergency eject, it's just that last little data burst. Yeah, your image was sent through that. Fellow piloted a Hornet.
When did I kill a Hornet?
On the asteroid.
Oh. Okay. Oh.
We didn't know where you were. Then you made some more noise over here. And then, yeah, that chicken shit pointed at us in your direction.
Got it. So, who's the employer that has a bounty on SMC survivors?
And that's probably when Valkyrie walks in the door, having been listening outside of it. And why the fuck are the Void Sirens working with the Hollyhawks?
This is a generous employer. They're not local. They just started dealing with us a few months ago. Real uppity military hoity-toity types. What's it?
Military.
I believe what they're called, go by Tovalan. They've been hiring out raider and mercenary companies to for intel and let's say scouting purposes.
Were you working for them when we came across you?
Yeah, currently we were in their employ.
Was that bounty before or after we failed to finish the job as?
Let's see. I think that was their contingency, because not all of you were confirmed as KIA.
How many weren't confirmed?
A handful. There's still, as far as last I checked, maybe 10 or so. Somewhere. Don't know if that number's changed.
Well,
don't care, because I don't get paid unless I bring one of you in.
Well, congratulations. You just bought yourself a ticket to a space.
I'm still curious what the fuck the Void Sirens were doing working with you.
Were they also
Getting
employed
paid
by the Tovalans?
same as we were. What's that?
I was asking, were they also employed by the Tovalans?
That I don't know, but they did give us a heads up when your merry little band showed up down here.
Were the ones on the asteroid your boys or just allies?
The the one in the Hornet used to run with us, but it was surprising because we thought that they were KIA in our little scuffle, but it seems they took their first chance to run when they got the opportunity.
Well, all ended the same way, anyways.
Guess so.
Look
And he
over.
kind of sits up and
Look over at Ma. Has Ma finished the food yet?
Maul is actually standing up with the remaining untouched half of the sandwich.
I'll just
Walks over and is there a food access point?
yeah.
Like a tray slot. She will put the plate down, take the pickle off, but put the half of the sandwich down, and then put the jar down too. Slide them through and then close it. Lean over to Oni and go, "You really mean it about dropping him off?"
Yeah.
You probably don't want to drink what's in that jar then.
You say that as he has it to his mouth, and he goes,
I'm
Right.
just kidding. Probably.
he smells it. See him kind of like double take a second, close his eyes, and takes a big gulp.
space moonshine.
Yep, and then starts in
Wow.
on the sandwich, and within seconds, it's gone.
Wouldn't that just be literal moonshine, John?
It's moonshine.
Yeah, moon. There's a space between the two words.
Trick is cooking it over the reactor of your Lancer.
See, this is a bit smoother. We normally do it over the reactor of the ship.
There you go.
Stays warm, which is
Through my data plating, I'll contact Diamir and ask him to provide some food to the prisoner now.
okay. They schedule a feeding.
Yeah. And I will walk away from the brig.
So how long do I gotta sit in here?
Till we get to a space station.
That's soon, right?
Well, first we're heading to a battlefield, so we'll see if you get spaced in that fight.
That's not. Fuck. He takes another gulp of the moonshine.
Look at it this way, hun. If you're getting space, the rest of us are probably up shit creek too. So we'll try to
mean,
look after you.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
you're
about-
in
I don't know
Shit
about-
Creek
I don't
and
know-
fucking Lancers.
I don't know about him, but at least the group of us have mechs to be in if our ship gets cracked.
Exactly. But not much complaining I can do from in here. Well, I can complain a shit ton, but it's not going to change much.
Rarely does. Sometimes makes you feel better though.
This will help. And he holds up.
Well, in addition to seeing you get it as you get some food, I can make sure you you have enough of that so as not to care or worry while he's on the way.
Appreciate that.
You got it, huh?
He sets it down, leans back in the cot.
As the three of them leave the room after the door shuts, she'll look at the other two. He wasn't a half bad hand, and he's just a mercenary.
He's a mercenary directly involved with both the employers and the company and the action that ended the lives of my family and company.
I mean,
He was on the battlefield, is what I'm saying. But apparently more of us survived than just me. That's good news.
That is good news. How you feeling?
Conflicted.
Well, she reaches over and if you will let her sort of pats you on the cheek. You change your mind, I'll put something in the next jar of shine he gets.
No. Made a
All right.
promise. I keep the promise.
All right. And you want a jar of shine. You let me
Yes.
know. All right. Come on. We'll get you up. Val, you want to come too?
No, I've got to get started at least trying to get the frame on Sigrun back together.
You sure? I'm going to finish putting together Rumble's playpen. Y'all can watch.
I want to at least get Sigrun to the point where the nanomachines can start doing some
I'm
work.
going to get us off planet so that we can start, because I know what Valkyrie said, but we actually do have to stop and recruit some hands before, because it's going to be a while before the Stragus has his forces ready. So
I was
we have
mostly
a
saying not to mess with him, but
oh yeah, well, we have a ship that needs crew. So
yeah,
Oh, so you're going up to be piloting?
yep.
don't
I'll
drink
get
and
you
fly.
Barry Cobbler shine. Best sort for being behind the wheel.
You know, it's not like a reaction-oriented thing. I push buttons and input codes.
No, I know. It don't got
No,
any lower alcohol
that
content.
that was towards Valkyrie. Like,
It's just a little bit more festive.
it's not like being in my Lance. It's a lot more computer based.
It's a line that we had back home.
I don't fly with my feet.
You know, I knew a fellow who did that.
I mean, if you get in a combat situation, your reaction skills will matter when you're flying, which is why we didn't drink and fly.
I mean,
Because
yeah,
we expected combat at every turn.
this is a transport vessel.
It's got guns on it.
Valkyrie, through your data plating, you get a text from text input from Diamir that says that all pilot inputs will be second checked.
she just kind of nods at nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll head up to the cockpit and start inputting coordinates because I know where we're gonna end up, and I want to basically plot to if I can determine where, and with Diamir's help, if I can determine where the best couple of locations to do hiring on is going to be between here and there.
Hiring on, you'd probably actually have to go back to the space station that you guys initially left from, back into.
There's no place between here and there, like no gladiator pits or anything like that.
Not in their system, not in their. Yeah, this is the far reaches. It's like the blink gate that you guys originally came through was the last blink gate in the area. The one that they're currently in the middle of construction on, near Andara, is still incomplete. I mean, you could try to go to Andara to see if there's any mech pilots, but you know that they had most of their mech pilots were military already.
So, staring at the information, realizing that we're not going to make it to the fight in time if we have to fly back in near light speed to the station, because that was a long way away and we don't have a blink gate to get back. Over the intership comes, "Hey, Envoy, you're familiar with Andaran space, right?
Yeah.
You know any place nearby where we can find people who gather together with either Lancers or other freelance pilots?"
I can look into it. There's a few planets that might. Give me the day and I'll see what I can come up with.
Yep. Anyone else knows anything about the area? That'd be good, because as far as I can tell, the closest place we could go space station wise to acquire hands is back where we came from.
There is a voice over the comms. Definitely not Sparky's, but it's using Sparky's regular frequencies. If Lancer designation Sparky is successful in her own endeavor, some may be coming to us.
I'm assuming you're an NHP.
Yes, my name is Astra. I am the NHP assigned to Lancer designation Sparky.
Cool. What is Sparky doing?
She left the ship as you began your interrogation, as I recall. It is my belief that she has traveled to an interplanetary communication facility in the interest of contacting some of her former superiors.
Well, then we can't leave until she's back in. Thanks for the update.
No problem.
Yeah, that would have been unfortunate. I swear we parked right here.
Well, while that's happening, and Valkyrie is in the hangar bay, and I feel like a lot of the lifting, a lot of the work stage right now on the Sigrun is mostly like machine lifting. Like, I need to get the frame on a rack and all of the arms in the right place, and then get them soldered back in.
Yeah.
And so while she's basically sitting in front of a machine console working the servo arms that are maneuvering the pieces of the Sigrun back into place, she sort of looks over at this small orange-haired girl who is sort of a few feet sitting down on something. So where's your family? Are they on this planet?
She looks up at you and just goes, hang on. She just goes, Astrid Ironstorm, Drake, Scout, First Squad, Ironstorm, Obsidian Maw.
As she sort of takes that information in, and as I try and find my own layout that I need to...
Is it yours listed on your face, though?
It is, but I can read it out as sort of a...
And the way that she said it, you get the intention behind it is like repeating just anytime you've asked her a question, she's repeated this. So
Name, rank, and number.
Yep.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But you do recognize the last name that she said, and the name that she said in her name, rank, and number spiel. The Ironstorm.
Yeah. Shani Dragonheart, Wormkin, Captain, First Squad, Stoneborn, Valkyrie's Roost, she says back.
First time you repeated it back to her, and she kind of like gives you a second, looks you up and down again. Then what are you doing with them?
Home's gone.
Home's not gone. Father's just moved.
Who's your father?
She kind of looks at you like, you don't know who my dad is. Gives you that look.
What was her rank list? What was her listing?
Ironstorm, and
Drake.
Yeah, it was Drake. So it was Astrid, Ironstorm, Drake, Scout, First Squad, Ironstorm, and Obsidian Maw.
Mhm.
And after you hear Ironstorm and then Obsidian Maw, that was Floki Ironstorm's ship before. Not the most popular of the Dragon Raiders, but one of the most effective and feared by the surrounding planets.
Oh, you're Floki Ironstorm's kid. Okay.
So you do know him.
I served under Eskel Stoneborn.
One of the soft ones.
One of the ones who didn't feel like throwing the lives of his men away.
what they're there for. That's what fathers taught.
If you listen to people other than just your father, you'll learn there's more than one way to see the world. If your soldiers survive, they can fight in another battle.
They're clones, though.
That kind of mentality is what led to the fall of Umbra Draconis. If you think your resources are limitless, eventually you still run out.
We'll see.
But where's your father? I wouldn't expect to see you out here on a backwater if you're the child of a general.
Go ahead and there's no persuasion.
Charm?
Yeah, go ahead and make a charm roll if you have it.
Do I have charm?
That I don't know.
I have leader inspire. I do not have charm.
Yeah. Yeah, so go ahead and just roll a d20.
11. Passing grade.
Okay. Yeah. She looks at you for a second and you can tell that she wants to talk more, and then she goes, I thought he'd be here by now.
Did he leave you here for something?
It was my first mission. I was to wait here for his signal.
Signal for what?
Before his arrival, I was to sow chaos. That's why I used the belts and the harnesses.
Well,
And now that since you looked over when you pulled the kids out of the mechs, the harnesses and belts that they were wearing, thinking back, they were of Umbra Draconis design, and they were motor control units that were mostly used for uncooperative lower caste clones, so that they would still do the work until they stopped bitching about it.
Didn't go as well as you planned, I think.
I mean, would have gone better. But
well, I think you made a mistake when you took my particular mech, even if you do have decent enough genetic match to get close to controlling it. You need some Horus tech, though.
She kind of crinkles her face up and she goes, what do you mean genetic match?
We're both the genes of warriors.
I guess we're both from Umbra Draconis. I know that.
There's been a lot of gene therapy and designer genetics in you, I can tell, even if it comes down from your parents.
Kind of just sits and just quiet and thinking. You can tell, running stuff over in her head.
Something I've learned from my time away from the Raiders. This kind of hair, she says, indicating the very bright orange hair that they both have, not normal.
Yes, I guess.
But you're too young to have your rank tattoo yet. And your father's already sending you on your first mission.
I can't do my job if I have facial tattoos that identify me. I'd stick out like you.
Well, if you want to be a warrior, eventually you're going to want to stick out.
So what do you plan to do with me? Am I a prisoner?
You're my guest. If you want to stay here and wait for your father, I won't stop you, but you can also come with me.
And what are you all doing?
Heading to war at the moment. If you want to see what glorious battle really looks like from the bridge of a ship rather than from the planet down below.
Why not? I'll stay for now. You're not going to have those doctors do any more tests on me now that I'm awake, are you?
No, you should be fine.
You can see you're kind of rubbing basically the ports that you have on yours, but she didn't.
Yeah.
Just rubs the bandages.
What made you think you wanted to get into Sigrun like that?
It was, well, not the biggest, but seemed like it would be the most difficult to deal with and the easiest to intimidate with should things go wrong.
Directly opposite the broken Sigrun is the Gyuki.
Yeah. Well, you're not wrong, and it's certainly well built for taking damage. As she says, she looks up at it, and the nanomachines are already sort of sewing metal struts back together as it starts to rebuild itself.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, I saw you piloting it, so I figured that why not give it a try?
Well, I don't know if your father intends you to be a mech pilot, but next time you try that, you're going to want these nerve ports.
I'll have to have a talk then.
Do I see a future wormkin before me?
If you'd be so lucky to see me. She looks up at you.
You're sneaky, I'll give you that.
From the other side of the hangar, you just hear, "Hey Val, hey kid whose ass I kicked." as Oni walks past.
She kind of gives him a dirty look as he walks past.
He laughs. You did lose.
I gave him a run for my money. That was the first time I've stepped into a mech.
You did very good for the first time you stepped into a mech.
So he's fucked next time.
That's the spirit.
So
yes.
if that message wasn't from father, then what was that about?
Which one? The one that sent us running, or
The one that from Throne of Val, the woman who identified herself.
That's the Hollyhock Raiders. Random space pirate mercenaries. Nothing like the Raiders, but dangerous in their own right. Apparently they're working for the Tovalans, some big space empire trying to build itself up.
Roll a d20.
Also,
Sure.
It is not relevant to the current scene, but I do send off a data packet to Gragas,
12.
telling him that the Tovalans have hired pirates and raiders to do scouting and other missions, and that the people that were aiming the asteroid at their planet were part of that effort.
Okay. You get that sent off. When she says Tovalans, or when you say Tovalans, you see her a flash of recognition in her eyes. She doesn't say anything, but
You know the Tovalans.
maybe.
Is that where your
I've
father
heard.
is?
I don't know where he is. I heard him speaking about those people. I don't know who they are.
Well, we're going to be finding out who they are very soon. I hope your father hasn't thrown in with the wrong lot.
Like you said, since home is gone, I don't know. I've never been. But father tells stories occasionally.
I haven't been back there since shortly after I was born. I don't remember much of it, but I remember the ice.
Yes, that's what he said.
Ice
The
walls.
frozen.
Ice walls thicker than most people can even lay down.
Yeah, he said it was a frozen hell, but it was their frozen hell.
That seems to be the popular opinion, yes. Now it's no one's frozen hell, though.
Yeah, he doesn't talk about it.
I want to know what happened eventually. It's one of the things I'm looking for out here. Any news on what happened to the Raiders and Umbra Draconis?
Maybe father will know.
Maybe he will. But come on, let's get you some actual food. I don't suppose you've had anything really good since you've been here.
They make good food on this planet.
Come on, I'll introduce you to...
Yeah, she hops down.
I'll introduce you to Ma. She knows what really good food is.
Lead
Ma
away.
comes running by. Has anybody not seen anything about this long, about this wide?
Did you miss him again?
Everybody roll a d20, including you, Craig.
I roll for Astra.
I feel like I feel like just like out of from a different room, you just hear
No,
Oni
everybody right now, roll a d20.
Oh,
10.
all right.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like
So, Oni, you walked past and a few minutes ago, and where were you headed?
I was probably just heading. I was probably after sending off messages, I probably just sort of doing a loop of the ship.
Okay, so you're walking through probably towards
We don't have a map of the ship, so I can't give you specifics.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I still gotta get that put together. Probably the bottom back part of the ship, and one of the doors opens, and you see Rumbles just laying down, and then curled up next to a warm spot, and he does what Ma named him for. He rumbles fairly loudly, and you're like, all right, cool, your room. And you shut the door.
But yeah,
and,
so as Ma asked the question,
you can hear and feel the rumble a little bit from where you are near the deck, the hangars. You're like, oh, that way.
As Ma asked the question, you just hear from the other room, Ma!
Oh, the little rascal. All right. Well, good to see you two getting along. She points at Valkyrie and the young clone, and turns and moves off in that direction.
What was her name so I can put it in the party notes?
I'll type it in chat.
Astrid.
Nope.
Astrid.
Yeah.
Astrid.
One
And
letter.
it was Astrid. What was the last name?
Ironstorm.
Ironstorm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ironstorm.
Father is Floki Ironstorm, also known as the Dreadnought.
F. Loki.
This is assuming we have enough downtime. I would like to finish the training rumbles. By the way, I figure that's
Yeah.
what's going on during this
It doesn't-
process.
Yeah, you didn't. I think you rolled well enough last time that you don't actually have to roll. You just need the time to.
Yeah.
And yeah, you definitely have enough time.
Just need the time and the resources, and presumably we
Yeah.
can acquire the resources.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Valkyrie does sort of like bring her up and he's like, Ma, this is Astrid Ironstorm, daughter of General Floki the Dreadnought Ironstorm.
Oh, good to
And Astrid, this is Ma.
Maul will kind of look her up and down and say, "Y'all done trying to steal our shit?"
Perhaps.
Anyway,
now.
I was telling her that she hasn't actually had any really good food since she's been on this planet because she hasn't had any of your food.
Well, I tell you what, you hold off on stealing stuff until after lunch, and we'll see what we can rustle up. Does that sound like a deal?
Sounds fair.
Come on, Oni's got my little rumbles corralled, so that just went down my priority list. Come on, let's go
Ma!
What is it, hon? She says into the comms.
Your lizard is in the engine room.
Oh, ain't he a sweetheart? Hey, just warm in there.
We need to access the engine room.
Not till after lunch, you don't.
Get your lizard out of the engine room.
Oh, she turns off the comp. He is such a fuss pot.
He's not even on the comms. He's yelling down the hall.
Oh, yeah, she just.
Yeah, this is very faint that you guys are just you're replying with the comms, but he's just keeps yelling.
No, don't. All right, don't worry. I tell you what. Let's make a stop off on our way. I got this under control. And if we can get to the galley by means of the engine room, Ma stops off, reaches out like she's going to open the door, and then just reaches past and puts a note up that says "out of order." Come on, let's get you some.
Yeah, you could take a roundabout way,
Like
but yeah.
right in front of Oni as he's sort of standing there waiting.
She just again reaches out, little pat on the cheek, keeps going. He's just taking a nap, hon. I'll get him after lunch. Bring down something for him too, so we can get him back in the cage. It's almost finished.
If your lizard gets radiation sickness for sleeping next to the engine, it's your fault.
She shrugged and says, it depends on all the isolation. Who knows? Maybe he feeds on it. We ain't found out yet.
We're in the plains where there was no radioactive signals.
Oh, honey, sunlight's radioactive.
Not the same way a ship engine is.
He'll, one way or the other, he'll be fine till after lunch. I do appreciate you being worried about him, though. You are so sweet. Come on, let's go get some lunch.
Yes, I don't want a mutant radioactive lizard on the ship.
Oh, all right. I'm going to give you a full jar of my blueberry cobbler. Come on. That'll calm you right down. And she's
Right.
heading towards the galley.
Yeah, you guys make your way to the galley.
Anybody heard anything from Sparky yet? Or is she still off gallivanting around trying to make friends and influence people?
As far as I'm aware.
Cut to.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, meanwhile, Sparky,
How's
where
that
have you
for a
gone?
segue, Andrew?
works for me. But yes, about the time that the other three headed down to the brig, Sparky departed the Bifrost in search of a means to get open a video call to another world entirely. Surely there's an interplanetary comms facility somewhere on this planet.
On this backwater research facility
There,
planet.
there is. It's called Our Ship.
Well, yeah, but no, they were communicating with other planets as well before you got here. So yeah, you can.
I feel like their Omnihook is a bit stronger than the one that we have in the ship.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
they
was
have an Ethernet,
specifically
not
why-
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's specifically why Sparky left.
Yeah, you can. Seeing as how you just have to talk to crap. I keep forgetting her name right off the top of my head.
Okay, we never remember her name, so.
Yeah, that's fine. The person in charge here.
I have that name. I know it's here somewhere.
Somewhere.
Where's it gone? And why has it gone? Anara Devan, there it is.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, I would go straight to Devan, ask about establishing a call to another planet.
Yeah, she will get you set up to do that. She just. Do you need one of us to input the coordinates, or do you?
No, I have the coordinates.
All right, then we'll leave you to it.
I appreciate it. And once Sparky is left alone, she punches in the coordinates to the Sengen system, specifically an old code that she knows belongs to one of her former commanders.
Okay.
Specifically, a man by the call sign Showcase.
All right. Takes a few minutes, but you're able to get a connection. Hello? Oh, Sparky?
Showcase, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Where the hell are you? I don't recognize these. Where the fuck are you? Why are you all the way out there?
I signed on with a new company, calling ourselves the DRSMC Irregulars. And we've kind of gotten thrown into a little bit of a war. You know how it is.
As you do.
So, because of that, we're looking to expand. So I'd like to request two things, if at all possible. The first is access to Sengen MEC licensing.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. The second might be a bit more tricky. We need numbers. If you have any pilots on file who are at least somewhat capable, even if it's just lacking in battlefield experience, sending even one of them our way would be greatly appreciated.
Go ahead and roll a d20.
Would this be as part of the get connected downtime action?
Yeah.
All right. Big money. 13.
Okay.
Ooh, I haven't seen it. Oh, there it is.
Yep, that just
It
popped up.
arrived
It took
for
a minute.
you way earlier than the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not perfect system.
He goes, it takes some doing, but I might be able to get you some prospects. I can at least get you some names and see if they'd be interested in heading out that way. What exactly, like, just what kind of, are you talking mech pilots, soldiers?
I think at this stage we are mainly looking for someone who can pilot a mech, yes.
Okay. All right.
We are at present a company of 5, but if we can get additional personnel on hand, if one of us is out of action, or otherwise needed elsewhere.
And for whatever it's worth, your end, yeah, the DRSMC currently has +4 organization influence, so that role might have actually been able to be 4 higher than it is.
So,
well, the result
17.
would be the result would be the
Yeah.
same either way.
Yeah.
On a 10 to 19, your contact will help you, but you've got to do a favor or make good on a promise afterwards. If you don't follow through, treat this result as a 9 or less next time you get it for the same organization.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I can see what I can do. Actually, which page is that on in the PDF, Andrew?
1 second, I'll pull up the downtime actions. Here we are. Page 55 in the PDF.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I can do that for you. I can get you a list. See if I can get a few sent out there. But I'm might need something from you here soon. Well, in a while. Don't know yet.
Makes perfect sense. Favor for a favor.
Yeah. I will let you know as soon as I got a list.
Great. I'll give you the coordinates to our ship in case you can. I'll give you the comm frequencies for our ship, or at least for me, in case you. We aren't going to. Short version is we aren't going to stay on this world much longer.
Yeah, I think if unless I sent them out right now, I don't think they'd make it to you very fast, anyways. But
They'd have to be pretty quick. Sinking's
Yeah.
a ways off.
yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about blink gates. But we'll keep you informed. You keep us informed. Let us know if you need anything else.
Of course.
You the DRSMC.
Yes.
Regulars?
Somewhat of a combination of two. What's the word I'm looking for? Fragmented organizations.
Right. Yeah, because pinged a bit. That name's shown up once on something, but just on some. Well, now that you're talking to me, something way out in the outer edges. So
Yes,
Listen-
that's where we've been operating of late.
yeah. All right. Well, you folks are making a name for yourself. So,
Trying to, or at least the others are.
well, it's working so far. But see what we can do for you.
There is a visible sigh of relief on the call, and Sparky cracks a wide smile.
Yeah, and as you crack your wide smile, he goes, 1 second, and you hear him typing for a second, and then he goes, that should be all right. Now it's encrypted, and there. And you get a data transfer for Sengun licensing.
Brilliant.
What does the key look like when it fabricates?
1 second, I ought to be able to answer that.
Since we've determined that all companies give you different licensing keys, they all look
The
different.
Sengun licensing key looks like a when it prints, it's a small banner with 5 clenched fists as its coat of arms.
Like sort of like a banner, like sort of on a cylinder, and the cylinder's where the data is stored or something?
Yeah.
I
mean, to
All
be
right,
fair,
Showcase.
as far as I'm concerned, every Horus license key is different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That
Like
makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Reborn's
Yeah, they're like port keys. None of them look the same.
Reborn's key is a book. Like it's a hardcover. It's a hardcover copy of like some ancient religious text with a data terminal sewn inside it.
I don't know what it means, but it just says Dianetics. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't put it past
something about thetans.
I wouldn't put it past Horace to cover a key in a Dianetics book.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm not gonna say anything. All right. But anyways,
Once
but yeah.
that's once the Singan license prints on our end, Sparky will quite happily collect that. All right, Showcase. Thanks for answering so quickly.
Yeah, no
I'll
worries.
I'll keep you informed. All right,
Yeah,
and
please do.
if I don't, I'm sure somebody will.
Good to know. Yeah, if you need help with anything else, I'm able to go ahead and hit us up again. See what we can do.
Not until
Good
I've
seeing you.
done that favor for you first. But
Yeah,
yes,
definitely not that.
but yes, good to catch up, and we'll talk again soon.
Looking forward to it.
And Sparky will promptly hang up, collect the new licensing, and head straight back for the ship.
All right. You make your way back to the ship. You come back to probably about let's see. You would be coming back in the middle of, as soon as you step on the ship, you can't make out what he's yelling, but you can hear Oni yelling something.
Healthy lungs on that boy.
Yep.
Oh, sweet home.
And you're all back on the ship. And Diamir alerts everybody that Sparky has returned.
Probably
And-
right as Maw is asking if anyone has seen Sparky, Diamir is like, yeah, actually.
Well, there we go. Sparky, come on up to the galley. We're going to get some lunch together.
All right, on my way. I've got some good news in the bargain.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
And Sparky will do her best to find
I
the galley as quickly as possible.
Have I done a downtime action since our last mission?
Yes, you were doing the get organized.
I did that after the second mission.
It was, I remember you saying that you were working on getting more influence since you just.
Well, no, that was. I've been asking if that would have been like a reward for that bonus mission we did. Was
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if I've actually done an actual legit downtime.
No, you haven't done one yet. Then.
Cool. While we're eating, then I'm just gonna pull up a data pad and I'm going to do a bit of research. I am going to do what? Downtime actions. There it is. I'm going to do gather information.
Gather information.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am going to try to gather any sort of. I'm going to see if there's any sort of intel I can find about survivors of the SMC. Now that I know that there are some. Like and it probably wouldn't, and like it's probably not going to be like direct out information, but like sightings of anybody with the Rokumonsen tattoo or anything like that.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, go ahead and roll while you're doing that. Let's see.
8, which means you get what you're looking for, but it gets you in trouble straight away, or you get out now and avoid trouble. I'm going to say get out now and avoid trouble, so I just don't find anything.
Yeah. You start, you are able to connect since you have an Omni hook on the ship. As soon as you start looking for SMC survivors, Diamir alerts you that some sort of bot is trying to figure out your location, basically. So they recommend that you cut the connection or stop the search.
Yeah, instantly cut the connection at that point.
Yep. So
at the table, well, fuck.
What'd you find, or what found you?
Nothing. Something seems like somebody's tracking any sort of information searching that might be related to the SMC.
Well, I hope that doesn't include the DRSMC.
Probably not. The name's different.
I should hope not. I was just on a lengthy video call talking about us.
Well, oh yeah, that's right. You weren't here. So the Torvalans apparently hired the Hollyhock Raiders to eliminate any survivors in the SMC.
Lovely.
As well as we're behind the folks that were trying to crash that asteroid into planet. I've already sent a message off to Stragus, informing him of updating him on the information.
Good to know.
Ain't it lovely? So many disparate folks are getting together and working on being absolute fucking shits.
Yeah.
The downtime action that Valkyrie will be taking, by the way, while she's trying to get the mech put back together, is in that same vein. Would be scrounge and barter to see if she can find something useful for the next mission.
okay. Go ahead and because it's going to be a few days, or a couple days to spend here. Well, I mean, it depends on depends on how long you guys are going to stay here, because you're going to head off planet.
Yeah.
Get what you want, but choose the price you need to pay: time, dignity, reputation, health, comfort, and wellness.
Yeah, I think I like the idea that she manages to find, because she knows that they're heading into a space battle next, so she's trying to get, like, even if it's just going to last for a short time, a quick rig for some jump jets that won't take up as much space on the mech, which would be a one mission reserve of the jump jets on the mech equipment. And in exchange for having to get that, she has to basically put her services in as a thug for local person in charge of junkyard to deal with the problem they've got. So it just kind of costs her dignity of just like, why am I dealing with this person?
Yeah, you are basically they say that they can get you can have the jump you find in a wreckage yard stuff that'll serve for jump jets on a mech for a bit, but they basically want you to watch the yard while they go get pissed drunk for about 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
you're gonna watch it while they have a weekend away from
work. Yeah. So she does that and probably has to break a few skulls, but you know.
Yeah, it's mostly just there are a few people that try to break in and steal some scrap, but it's also mostly just random teenagers heckling you, and also the person that hired you and said, yeah, you can have this. They come by every once in a while, drunk off their ass, and every time all they do is go, having fun yet? And then they just walk the other way without even waiting for you to answer.
Yeah.
Total asshole.
think
So
we've
yeah.
we've all had that manager.
Yeah, which will give me a reserve of jump jets for one mission.
All right.
Can I also just say, in general, I love the downtime system in this.
It's so good.
Oh, it's nice. Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and
So
while
we're
you're
just-
actually doing that, you get data plate or to your data plating when right after the events of the previous nights, when all the chaos was happening, they did take all the kids in for testing to make sure they're all fine, including Asfred. Ran scans, x-rays, made sure everything was not broken where it was supposed to be. No organs were missing. There were no extra organs where there shouldn't be. Basic stuff. And you got a report for Asfred since you were the closest genetic match
closest basic
on the
relative.
planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically relative. And now apparently the guardian for this child. The scans came back that she has not unsurprising to you, genetic match close to yours, different in some sections that you'd have to look over to see exactly what the differences are. But she also has a small chip towards the base of her skull, and it's about it.
Were they able to identify what the chip is?
No, they did
It's
say
a
that
kill switch.
they did say that it could be removed surgically, but they didn't know what it was for, so they didn't want to remove it.
Probably fair. Probably a fair decision.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, she will ask Asfred at some point after she gets that feedback of, doctors tell me there's a chip in the back of your skull. What's it for?
There's a what?
If you're not aware of it, that's the problem.
How
I know what all
do
of
I
my
know you're
cybernetics
not
are.
lying?
She pulls up a data pad with the doctor's report. They gave this to me because I'm your closest relative on planet.
This is the first time we're not related, though.
As far as they can tell, we are. We have basically a 98% genetic match.
That doesn't make any sense. She kind of just like looks down and starts quiet teenage sulking again.
Well, that might have been a high number, but still, more in common genetically than not. Because at Umbra Draconis, they breed us for purpose.
Well, then if it's something from Umbra Draconis, then what does your chip do? Do you have a chip?
I have many cybernetics, but nothing that's just a lone, isolated microchip. I know what all of mine do. You ought to know what yours do if they're from Umbra Draconis.
I don't know what this is.
As the GM's dog start barking.
Yeah,
Dang it,
somebody came
Rumbles.
home.
Do you
A little higher pitched.
Yeah, fair.
do you remember ever getting something put into you?
I mean,
No.
She
But
doesn't know it's there.
would you?
Oh,
Yes. And they didn't actually anesthetize me for some of it.
like how they waited until you unmuted before you started barking again.
Yeah, quiet as long as I'm muting, and then as soon as I unmute again, yeah.
They yes, I do remember when I got most of mine, and they didn't anesthetize me for all of it.
That sounds painful,
It was.
but no.
But it also might not be Umbra Draconis. Did you know that you had Horus Tech when you were sneaking in?
No, but it was the most. I didn't know that it was Horus until I actually sat down in it.
No, I'm talking about what you put in the computer system.
Oh no. No, that was something that the father gave me.
If your father's playing with Horus Tech that dangerous and that cavalier with his own daughter. Mm. Do you want to find out what's in that chip?
Do you have something that can scan me here?
Diamir, do we have the necessary equipment on this ship to get a body scan? Find out what this chip is?
No.
To find the purpose of the chip, no, but we can do enough for a full body scan to locate any such implements.
Do that at least. Let's find out what's where.
Please head to the medical brig. Well, not medical brig, but medical room.
Bay, yeah.
Medical bay. Sorry.
Medical brig.
Medical brig is right next to where Reese is.
Wait to the laundry brig.
Yep.
Come on, Asford. Let's see what you've got.
Was that would we have heard the rest of that conversation or no?
Depends on where they had it.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I wasn't sure if that was still over lunch or not.
Probably not.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys head to the medical bay, and she kind of stands there, and you first. What have you got?
Well, she says, stepping onto the scanner. I've got a number of different nerve ports built all along my spine and most of my arms and legs, which will allow me to interface with my mechs. I've got a series of adrenal stimulants built around the base of my neck that will inject me with various different stims whenever I need them, and as long as I've got them filled up. My eyes have been data plated so that I can get access to any sort of feedback that I need it. And she sort of
goes the down scan starts, and as you're listing it off, it also lists off, not in the same order that you're listing it off, but it lists off pretty much everything else. And
she goes down the list of numerous cybernetic and genetic enhancements that have gone into making her a super soldier.
Yep. And then she's like looking at the console, and she points at the screen, and she goes, "You've got one too, then."
I do have one. I do have a radio chip. Oh wait, no, she sees the one that she doesn't notice, that she doesn't know about. Oh
yeah, you step around after the scan is complete, and in about the same location that Astrid has a chip, you also have one there.
Ooh. Well, that's interesting. I do have something I don't know about.
It's a kill switch.
And she goes, "Fine." Goes over, steps on the scanner, goes through the scan. The only thing that they can find, or that the American find, is electronically at least, is the chip. So you have one. What does it do?
It's a good question. We both have the same chip, and I don't know what it's there for. Damer, can we get any information on this thing?
Cut it out.
It's been put in there for a reason.
Yep. Without direct interface, not much could be done other than surface scans. I can tell you where it's connected to, possible uses for it. But apart from that,
Give me the basic rundown.
it's attached near the, base of the skull. On the inside, it seems to affect neurochemicals that can, you see a whole bunch of like, fractaling patterns on the console as Diemer's thought processes shown visually. Perhaps it could be used to stimulate certain parts of the brain, or cause concentrated electrical pulses in other sections, or inhibit electrical impulses from other parts of the body. You'd have to, again, directly interface with it to find out its specific purpose.
Something to look into later.
But as the report that you've received indicated, surgical removal is possible, and there's a bit of a pause, there is a way to disable it. It looks like it's susceptible to electronic shorting.
Let's leave it for now.
Wow.
Yes, that is not advised.
Let me tase.
It
Let
is
me tase the
possible.
back of your skull. Come on.
Little probe pops out.
I think we'll
your automata where you just unplug the thing and you automatically die.
Yes, I think we'll leave it there for now. The fact that I have one as well makes me think it might actually be draconian, which means it might be important.
Comes up with a shock stick. Hold still.
But yeah, so you get that bit out.
What does Envoy come up with for us?
There is a pair of planets that have civilian mech pilots that are basically gladiators. They're
Looking for.
So they're more you guys will appreciate this, more WWE style fighting, they're wrestling style mech fighting, rather than actual
Show fighters,
combat
rather than real fighters.
yeah. So but that's the closest, because most actual combat experienced pilots are already either in a company or part of the military. So
Like lanceadors.
yeah. yes. Let's see, there's one planet called Moliv, about 2 days jump from where you're at now.
There's somebody other
And-
planet is named Corktel.
I was hoping for Soldan. Probably nowhere near Soldan.
The other planet is named. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. Thelia. Will live in Thelia. Have the most positive looking prospects for potential mech pilots.
So over the chipcom. All right. Envoy has provided us with 2 potential locations to go and get some hirelings. Anyone know anything about planets Moliv or Thelia? Probably not, but I feel like I should ask.
Everybody can go ahead and roll a d20.
I'm gonna assume I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's 2 from me.
Yeah. Apparently those are planets, Sparky.
Yeah, these are the first I've heard of them.
12. Yeah. Let's see.
Hey,
Ma watches Thelian wrestling matches.
Definitely.
that is definitely what is going on.
Yeah. You hear Thelia and you're like, oh shit, we're that close to Thelia?
You get some
Oh,
autographs.
Oh damn! All right, you all. Oh boy! All right, you all hold still. I gotta go get some stuff from my room.
Thelian mech wrestling is the WWE of giant robots.
Could you give me the
She comes back up,
abbreviated version?
She's wearing t-shirts. She inexplicably has a sign with an obscure Bible quote on it.
Austin 3:16 is not a Bible quote.
No, but hers actually is.
Yeah.
Austin
Valkyrie.
3:16 says, "I'm about to kick your ass."
Valkyrie, you you held up. You got. You remember it was odd. There was actually a ship that you had boarded, and you let the passengers go, but you dropped them off on a planet, and it was a Thelian. It was or not. It was a Thelian ship that you had pretty much just took from them. You're like, oh, they got a lot. You realize that they had a lot of mechs on there. You're going in for a fight. Then as soon as you stepped on there and threatened them basically, and you had them surrounded with your mechs, they're like, oh no, fuck, take what you want. Just don't kill us.
It's the Vikings blue balls.
Yep. You're like, all right, yeah, we're gonna fuck these guys up. And then, oh man, they gave up.
Just in bad spirits, like kicking over trash cans on your way out.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Hopefully they put up more fight than the last group of Thelians I ran into.
yeah. So that's what you guys know.
All right, and I guess we're heading to Thelia.
Anything with my role, anything of specific use or anything that we should be doing to prepare for landing or anything like that?
No, pretty much what you know about. You just know that the wrestling that the mech fights that you watched back home were based in Thelia. Very excellent production quality. Definitely some nail biter fights. There's a few rivalries. Other than that, you don't know anything about the planet itself other than the best damn mech fighting is from that planet.
Okay. Amazing. All right, great. This is very good.
This is where you get the G Gundam like giant big character mechs. The
And
Gundam that is just a windmill.
Yeah.
and for Moliv, not much either of you. I mean, Moliv doesn't have quite the same reputation, but there's solid there's been a few solid fighters that come from that planet as well
Moliv
that
is
take part in the Thelian.
Moliv is the AEW to Thelia's WWE.
I'll take your word for that.
Moliv has all the good. Moliv has all the actual good wrestlers, but Thelia has all the spectacle and money.
How long is the trip to Thelia?
The trip to Thelia is about 4.5 days.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if we're all on board, get us out of here.
All right.
Say goodbye to this planet that we have saved twice.
All right. And you guys.
And also beat up a bunch of kids on.
Yeah.
Oni says over the intercoms.
Did we find out specifically how Asfrid got the other kids involved? Whether that was her or
Valkyrie did, but hasn't shared that yet.
hasn't shared that. Okay.
Yeah, no, she knows how she got them to do
Yeah.
that, but not how she got the belts and the motor control units on them.
Yeah.
Presumably by wrestling them to the ground.
I mean, she is a draconian and also the oldest of the group of kids that was there.
And the last time Oni saw her, she had just dove down into the sewers.
Yeah.
So it could have basically been like, "Hey, you guys want to see a dead body?" And then as soon as,
It's
they're
gonna
down
be
there,
yours.
yeah. You said C, not B.
This is a
Hey kids, want to be a dead body?
this cut of Stand By Me is really dark, you guys.
Yeah.
It's,
All right.
It's Stand By Me crossed with It.
Let's not do that today.
All right. So, yep, you guys are able to take off and set a course for Thelia. I'm assuming that's where you're going?
Yeah.
Thelia?
Yep.
Okay. So Thelia is going to be about 4.5 days travel. Go ahead and
See if
see.
in
Go ahead
that
and-
time we get contacted by Sparky's.
Yeah. We'll actually go ahead and take a break there.
All right, cool. If you're watching on
All right.
Twitch, please stay tuned for these commercial messages. We'll be back in a few minutes. We're back.
Welcome back, everybody. So you guys are on your way to Thelia. I believe Ma still had some stuff to finish up for Rumbles, along with
we're one person away from having 500 followers on the Twitch channel.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Hey,
499.
that's very cool.
So I'll also, since it's going to be about 4.5 days, if there's anything else you guys want to do, accomplish
No, I
while
did
you're
not.
on that.
Sorry. I was trying to get to a different page, and all of a sudden, our stream started talking through my channel, through my speaker.
Yeah.
How do you speech jam yourself?
No, it's just like, no, stop it. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, you guys have about 4.5 days. If you have anything you want to accomplish or talk to each other about or strategize for, now's the time. So we can pick up with Ma.
I have nothing in.
Yeah, I think Ma's just finishing up the terrarium / chamber for Rumbles.
Okay.
Is it the engine room?
I mean, that would be amazing, but I think it probably is not the engine room. I think, can we do this? Rumbles has a room, but keeps sneaking out to the engine room anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, for sure. Because when you slapped on the out of order post-it on the door and finished lunch, and then you guys took off. And when you went to go collect Rumbles and get them in the room, now that it's all finished, you open the door, Rumbles wasn't there. So they're getting around the ship somehow, and you don't quite know how because the door didn't open at all.
Or the post-it would have fallen off, yeah.
Yeah. When you actually start looking around for Rumbles again, they've made their way to the finished room, and we're kind of doing the thing where they're sniffing out the new space. Kind of looks, from what you can tell, looks familiar to them. So they pick a spot under or on top of one of the large rocks that you have installed in there, and kind of take up a sunbathing spot where there's no sun, but just a high point that they can see throughout. Because I think we established that it was like in part of the cargo bay, since the cargo bay is very large.
Yeah.
So it's high enough up that they can see pretty much the entire cargo bay.
I think a lot of this stuff in there, Ma probably went onto the Universal Net to look for printable patterns, found stuff that like you use if you are putting together a little terrarium for like a chameleon, a regular size Earth chameleon, and just sized it up in the printer.
Yeah,
because we have mech size printers, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She's been using one of the mech printers to print out like fake logs and those giant plastic plants that are just 7 feet tall now.
Yeah, so there's a mini jungle ecosystem over in one corner of the cargo bay, complete with, since you guys were on a planet, there's a small pool of water.
It's also she has quote unquote trained Rumbles now, but it's very much that thing like when you go over to your friend's house and they're like, no, my dog's totally trained, and it's looking at you like, it's going to eat me.
Narrator, they won't.
For the most part, Rumbles stays on the ship, and actually will follow you around if you kind of get their attention, and they'll follow you for a bit. They'll sit, stay. They're not gonna be like an attack creature.
So,
but
again, sorry to interrupt.
change.
I'm just finding my ADHD is firing off, and I'm finding interesting information. As the gayest person on the stream right now, It is my pleasure to inform you all that the 100% of people that find us through tags are finding us through the LGBTQIA plus tag.
Nice.
Nice.
Welcome, folks.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, yeah, not an attack, but I assume useful in intimidate and threaten.
Oh yeah. You have trained Rumbles to when you say grr, that gets Rumbles to rumble deep, loud, and kind of puff their neck out, and their neck
Frills?
actually. Yeah. What's up?
Frills? Is that the word you're looking for?
A little bit. They have very small frills that kind of like vibrate and add to the actual belly rumbles that they do. And it is it's pretty much you train them to show you their war face, but they're pretty much the sweet, like not dog, but sweet dog mentality. As soon as you're like, oh, good boy.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, I think that's the majority of what Maul is doing, unless people need her for things. She's just kind of working on making sure that he's not gonna the next time we open the cargo bay, he's not gonna wander off and get lost and not come back on, you know.
Yeah,
So
no.
less about staying put where he's supposed to, and more about coming when called.
Yeah, easy enough.
Oh, I'm just monitoring our feeds and making sure the ship's staying on course for the most part.
Yep.
Well, about halfway through the trip, Sparky will head down to the mech hangar with her usual suite of tools for a solid day's worth of tinkering. And then there is a video call to Oni coming from her quarters.
Open.
A feminine face appears on the screen. It is definitely not Sparky's, since it appears to be a digital construct like you'd see in one of Diamia's projections. Hello again, Lancer designation Oni.
Astra?
Do you have some time to talk?
Sure.
I have been gathering tactical data and recordings of this unit across 4 separate combat missions now. I have concluded that this unit is a better fit for Sparky's personal development by a factor of approximately 600% when compared to engagements alongside unit designation display case, now defunct.
Glad to hear it.
However, Sparky lacks in confidence and looks to her peers for direction. She relies on her military training to stay zeroed in and bypass distractions when in mission, such as during your second engagement where Lancer designation Moore asked her about food. This is a useful talent for her, but it makes her inflexible in the field and limits her capacity to make decisions on her own.
Okay.
You seem confused.
Have
Have I interrupted something?
No, I'm just waiting for the punchline.
No punchline. I would just share information I have gathered with you.
Continue on, then.
Based on my knowledge of Sparky's personal history, I have an understanding of her that she is disinclined to share with you herself. Therefore, I would go behind her back in the interest of ensuring her well-being and ongoing development.
Understandable.
It is widely accepted, I believe, across Union space and the diaspora both, that Lancers are heroes to the people. I have the distinct impression that everyone else on board this ship, with the possible exception of the prisoner and the child, fits this description. Sparky is and has always been a soldier. It is my belief that she thinks she does not know how to be a Lancer, or a hero. She adds that last one almost as a bit of an afterthought. In conversations, she has only ever referred to herself as a pilot when she does speak up. Doubtless you have seen that she defers to everyone else in group decisions.
Hmm?
It is my understanding that Sparky needs people to show her the way to better develop herself. And this would best be done in a relatively stable environment where her squad mates won't let her down or lead her astray. I do hope that this unit will not repeat the mistakes of the unit designation display case now defunct.
I get you.
Thank you for understanding. I just thought that was something worth mentioning.
Thank you.
If I come across any further developments, I'll keep you informed. Likely along with the rest of the unit.
Cool.
And then Astra just hangs up.
Take a minute. I think about what just happened. Intership comms. Actually, no, not even that. I head down to the hangar bay. And
You find Sparky deep in the left shoulder of the Lazuli, working on her rifle.
Hey, Lancer.
Sparky doesn't respond. She's looking very much at her work and assumes you're talking to somebody else.
I pick up a wrench. And I fling it at the shoulder of the mech. Ping, ding, 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 ding.
She jumps about a mile. And takes a moment before she gets up and rounds on you. And when she does, you can see that her mechanical arm is missing the wrist and hand. Oni, what the hell are you doing? I'm working.
Teaching you a lesson about paying attention to your surroundings, Lancer.
So noted.
Here, let me help you. And I'm gonna start climbing up to help Sparky fix her mech.
As you do, she turns back around and plugs her arm back in.
And I'm gonna and basically I'm gonna spend time showing Sparky all the quick and dirty tricks I learned under the SMC banner for field repairs when you don't have a lot of time to do a full repair, and also helping do the actual full repair.
Meanwhile, Valkyrie across the way is just sort of like, okay, maneuver that arm into place, click, and then there's just a field of nano machines just swarming over the broken joint to rebuild the machine.
Yeah, very odd to see a stream of nanobots just flood into it and then just disappear from sight.
As it just sort of
Yes.
reforms into solid metal.
And Oni pointedly does not ever refer to during the course of the repairs, doesn't refer to Sparky as Sparky, keeps referring to her as Lancer.
After about the 7th time you refer to her as that, she pauses and looks up. Oni, what are you doing?
Helping you fix your mech.
Not that.
Clarify.
All right, fine. One sec. Let me just pull up my actual notes. There it is. You are calling me that which I am not. Let's put it that way.
Not following.
I'm not a Lancer. Just a pilot.
I take the wrench that I'm holding and just sort of tap against the shoulder of the Emperor. What is this?
She immediately rattles off the Emperor's license number, model number, and designation.
All right. So this is what we in the business refer to as a lance. It's strategically, statistically, militarily, basically every E you can think of, superior to a mech. You know the things that we keep crushing on the battlefield with relative ease?
Yes.
Those are mechs. Pilots pilot mechs. Lancers pilot lances. If you're in this mech, you're a lancer. You wouldn't be in it otherwise.
Sparky pops her arm out from the elbow down this time and just sits down on the bench, on a nearby bench. All right, look, I get it. There are high expectations of me, and I am supposed to meet them. Correct? Crushing mechs on battlefield with relative ease, all that fun stuff.
I mean, it's not an expectation. It's just a matter of course.
Sure seems like an expectation to me.
Who's expecting it?
Does that matter?
Yeah.
All right. Well, when your position as a lancer is idolized, I guess, for lack of a better term,
Mm-hmm.
people expect you to know this sort of thing. Like how to do that.
Ooh.
So what happens when I don't?
Who expects you to know it?
People. And she just gestures
Do you have a
to
name? Anyone in specific that looked at you and said, Sparky, I expect you to know 100% of the time how to deal with all combat situations? Because I had a really overbearing dad, and he never said that to me.
I mean, must be nice for you, I guess. But
I mean, he's dead now, so, give or take.
my condolences.
The small
The point
town.
is, I don't think I can name anyone in specific, but people as a whole out there in the galaxy, they know what a lancer looks like.
What's a lancer look like?
She glances around the hangar bay, notices Valkyrie, points to Valkyrie, looks back at you, points at you.
So does Maul look like a lancer?
Maul's not around,
What does Maul look like a
but
lancer?
yes. But
So a lancer looks like this specimen of physical fitness, indicating to himself. Or does a lancer look like the cybernetic super soldier with the horror machine? Or does a lancer look like your grandmother with a garden gnome? Because that's the three examples you've got, none of which look like each other.
Deadly gnome, though.
well, I guess the metaphor is lost then.
Well, no. See, what you're doing is something that lots of people do. It's okay. It's understandable. You are putting expectations on yourself. We don't have any expectations of you other than to have our backs. That's the only thing. So long as you're behind me, while I'm pointing over at Yuki, riding that bull, that's all you got to do. The people that idolize Lancers, they're important in that it's our job to protect them, sure, but they're not on the battlefield. They're not in your cockpit. Right now, the only place they exist, and so just points at your forehead, is in there. And those phantoms are just that. Phantoms. The only thing real uses the rich again to tap the Emperor is the lance and the lancer.
There is about a minute of silence as Sparky is processing this.
From across the way, you just sort of hear, because even over the din of her work, she's got basically superhuman hearing at times. Also, the lance is proof that you're a lancer, not the other way around.
That's what I said.
Maul walks by in a house coat and fluffy slippers. Y'all talking about lances?
Rumbles is about 3 steps behind, just trotting. Yeah.
The fact that you've got that lance means you've made it. There's nothing else to do. You've crossed the Everest.
That's why they're called Everests. At least that's why. I like to think that's Everest. Don't put don't borrow trouble that doesn't exist.
In my experience, and she waves the half of her arm that is still attached to her shoulder, trouble tends to find me, or at least us.
Yeah.
Now,
you don't need more of it in that case.
Exactly. Now, Lancer, are we finished fixing your mech?
she thinks about saying something, but recognizes the look on Oni's face as one that she has almost definitely seen before, and decides against it, but doesn't answer. Instead, gets back to work.
I can't hear you.
Is there anything else you need, Oni? I need to finish this up.
Close enough. Here, let me give you a hand.
If you must. And by this point, Sparky has gone back into mission focus mode, essentially.
It's a long process. It's not going to be.
Yeah, there was something that I could have said, but it would have drawn out the conversation further, and Sparky doesn't want that right now.
Yeah. Oni will continue to, while we're in transit and while the Emperor still needs repairs, Oni will assist in the repairs because the Gyuki is very easy to repair.
Yeah, the Emperor is a bit more complicated than what Sparky's used to, especially since she's had to strip out part of the shoulder mechanisms to fit the Silver Lance properly, or at least properly by her standards.
Good enough so that it doesn't break the rest of the mech.
Yeah,
Sigrun's the easiest repair in the world. There's just a lot of it to do right now.
Yeah, you can basically just turn on the nano swarm and just go, all right, do your thing.
Yeah. You have to keep,
half the ship is eaten.
you just have to keep putting the parts on and then let the nanoswarm do its job. But at the same time, the mech was destroyed, so there's a lot of doing that to go.
Yeah, that's fair.
On the 3rd day of your travel, you guys get a message from Stragus saying that that helpful information. Know what to look out for now. If we see any void sirens or any of these hollyhawks, we'll be sure to harass them out of our system. Should we spot them? But some updates from the scouts over the planet of Vanima. Since our initial viewing and contact with that capital ship, we can confirm that they are using the settlement as an FOB, and they're beginning to fortify and entrench that certain positions throughout the settlement, some of the settlements there, and none of the ships of similar design as the capital ship have been spotted, but aside from the what was previously identified as the Damned Delight of the Hollyhawks, and one other unnamed, unidentified ship has made contact and subsequently left in that time. We do have an image. They had an identifying symbol on the hull of their ship. If any of you perhaps know anything about this.
I've got a bad feeling.
Me too.
Yeah. So image gets forwarded and blows it up. What you can see is a symbol that looks like the upper half of a dragon with wings outstretched and a sphere between its claws, but it's got its head thrown back like it's roaring from a profile side.
Does that look like the Iron Storm version of the...
Yeah. It looks like the planetary symbol that Umbridge kind of used to have, but whereas the original was a full front face of the dragon, this one think Mortal Kombat, like
side profile dragon face. Yeah,
but up in a roar. So this is the only identifying ship. We're going to forward it to Union officials to see if they knew anything about it, but
it's the Iron Storm.
The Iron Storm.
Capital ship of Floki, the Dreadnought Iron Storm, former General of Umbra Draconis.
Do you know their capabilities? Should we be worried?
The Iron Storm roost was, in my experience, the most aggressive and least concerned with casualties of the Draconian legions. He will throw his men into the meat grinder if it'll give him a chance of success. And he's got a lot of them if his numbers have kept up.
Wonderful.
They use conscripts?
And
anytime they find them.
But not everybody in the mechs might be willing to be there.
They have a habit of using motor control systems to get people that are unwilling to do their jobs.
Like the ones we saw previously?
Yep.
Would it be more kids, you think? Or?
I doubt it would be kids, but they'll definitely have unwilling conscripts.
Son of a bitch.
that is more good news. Wonderful. Well, at least now we know. Is this Floki a Lancer pilot as well?
He's a general. I don't know how well his skills in the pilot suit have held up, but
well, you personally know that just from reputation, he's called the Dreadnought because he pilots a Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
So he does have some experience in mechs.
He's an experienced mech pilot, but last time I heard his classification of mech was Goliath class rather than anything Lancer scale.
Okay, that's good, I guess.
He wasn't specifically one of the Wormkin, so he wasn't built for Lancer style combat.
That's good to know. Still sounds formidable. We'll keep you posted. We don't quite know where they jumped off to, but they spent about a day in orbit along with the Tovalan flagship, and before departing, we weren't able to get any of our scout drones near that ship, but should they return, we'll try to do that, and we'll also keep an eye out for them to show up in any of the systems that are nearby. Thank you for letting us know about their tactics, I guess.
Expect very aggressive, all-in assaults that are designed to hit you before you're ready for them. He's very much a fan of hammer and anvil.
Noted. We'll be sure to take the proper precautions where we can. We're still the ships that we've recalled are still in transit. It should just be maybe a little over a week from now when they're able to, when they should arrive. Let us know if you find anything else out, or if we'll let you know if any updates on our end, if any plans need to be.
For your information and potential understanding, his daughter's on board our ship.
Prisoner or
Guest at the moment. She is kin, but
how?
Personal business, no threat to the operation at large.
If you're sure.
If she becomes a threat to the operation at large, I'll space her myself.
All right, then I'll leave that to you.
I'm more referring to the point that we might actually be able to talk to him, considering we've got his daughter on board.
You think, considering where he left her? The task
He gave her he gave her a job.
And that job was?
Causing chaos.
And you think he expected her to survive?
Who knows? We'll find out. I'm saying it's a possibility that we didn't have prior.
Well, all right. We'll keep you updated on our end.
We're going to make a stop to pick up some extra hands, and then we'll linger outside the system while we wait for your reinforcements.
All right, sounds good. What systems are you headed towards to?
We're heading over towards Thelia at the moment, and we're apparently also going to be potentially receiving word from external sources. So,
all right. Okay, we will make note of that.
And again, if you come across any other Lancers looking for work, or just hands looking for work, send them our way.
Yes, we've had one emissary ship head out towards the Blink Gate. That is, well, the system that has the nearest Blink Gate, which is quite a ways. But we've got the word out that there's work in this sector. So.
All right. Well, anything else that you need from us, or are we good to go?
That is all the information that I have.
I think that's all the information we've got too.
Yep.
All right. Well, safe as you can be travels, and good luck with your recruiting.
Thank you.
Oh, and Stragus,
Yes.
you know where to get us if you ever need to call us for non-official business.
He kind of smirks and he goes, yes, I'm aware.
All right.
And then cuts out.
I didn't know you were fox hunting, Ma.
Mom goes, more fishing. And she gotta reel him in nice and slow.
I don't think you took the bait, Mo.
That's like I said, just nice and slow over time. That's the thing about fishing. At the end of the day, even if you don't catch nothing, Still a nice day.
Look
Lots of nice scenery. And she kind of nods towards the vid terminal where Stragus was a moment ago.
We'll look over towards Valkyrie. You think using her as a bargaining chip will actually work?
It's not the best chance, but it's a chance. I also wouldn't say a bargaining chip, more of a door opening to actually have a conversation rather than just immediately opening fire.
You know your people better than I do, so
That's the thing. Using our own as bargaining chips, especially with someone like Ironstorm, not gonna work. But the family connection might be enough to get him to talk rather than shoot first.
I will prepare for the shoot first eventuality.
Definitely be prepared for the guns, but we might be able to talk.
A chance is better than nothing.
Exactly.
Well, let's go see what the wrestling mechs can do.
Yep. Day and a half later, you guys come out of your light speed travel and request landing on a fairly populated planet. It's got a pair of large oceans, large bodies of waters, with split continents, and then you make your way onto the surface. 1 second. You are granted permission to land in the nearest city as you drop out of orbit. In the city of Aros. I'll put it in chat. It is one of the larger cities on the surface. You happen to land on the night side of the planet, so it was pretty easy to find the biggest hub of civilization.
So over the intership comms. Ooh, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between, we are landing now in Eros, where the local time is fucking dark. Please make sure you return your tray and seat back to their upright and original position. We'll be landing shortly.
You hear briefly over the comms, "No, Astra, he's joking."
You get a ping from Diamir that one tray has been put up. And and you're like, what? And then it shows a picture of the brig where Reese is. And the tray for the food port for his the cell door just automatically flipped up.
Wham!
I'll bring
How
us in
drunk
for-
is he right now?
So question, do you I was gonna say, do you take the glass mugs back when you when you give them the new batch, basically over the course of the days or whatever?
Yeah, I would imagine that would be
Like
even,
just even trade.
yeah, probably.
Okay, then yeah. So it's he is passed out on his cot. The the glass mug that it comes in is slowly rolling back and forth and vibrating as you're entering atmosphere. So yeah, he's having a very comfy trip.
Fantastic.
Once once we land, I'm gonna head down to the brig.
Okay.
On the way down, as I assume Astrid is probably near Valkyrie's quarters, or if not in them with her, just sort of as the ship is rocking from reentry. How do you feel about reentry?
It's not the first time.
Have you gotten used to it yet?
Yeah, I guess. Just noisy.
You'll eventually have to get used to it from the inside of a mech. Orbital drops are fun, but startling the first few times.
It should be fun then.
We'll get you fitted for ports as soon as you're old enough. Which, post-adolescence, it's hard to tell. Normally we come out fully grown.
What do you mean?
I came out of a clone tank like this. Not with all the cybernetics, but full size.
Hashtag, I came out of a clone tank like this.
I was expecting Valkyrie to say something like, "I'm 3 years old."
Oh no, she's older than that, but
Yeah, fair.
Well. All right. I guess I'll talk to my father and see when, if I must.
if you want to pilot dragon style, you're gonna need some neural ports. You can always learn to pilot like Ma does, but I mean,
More like
less
Oni
stylish.
Wanders by in house coat and slippers again.
Like I said,
He seems very relaxed.
she is. It's wonderful.
I thought you said we were going into war.
We are.
She must be fearsome.
Quite.
John, you're saying?
No, I'm going to the brig.
Okay.
Is he asleep?
Yeah, technically.
Asleep, unconscious.
Turn the lights on.
He's in that gray area.
I turn the lights on.
Yep. Does no reaction.
I open the door.
You hear and he kind of like moves a little bit.
We removed any of his weapons, right?
I would hope so. That's,
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
did you?
Yeah, definitely did. Definitely did.
Otherwise, he would have tried. Like, I got questions for you guys. Pulls a gun out. Let me out.
You're on the other side of an energy bar. Fired. I dare you. Anyways, I would just go in and just pick him up, sling him over my shoulder, and
Hey.
take him out.
Hey.
Hold it in.
1 second.
Yeah, to roll to see if he can hold his barf.
No, he definitely doesn't fart, or he doesn't barf, but he farts.
Not the worst thing I've smelled.
You hear a sigh.
Yeah, I take him outside the ship and just dump him in a gutter.
Okay. All right. So as soon as he hits the ground, he goes, "Ah, fucking, what the fuck? Fuck."
Behold, he said unto his children, thou art free.
Where the fuck are we? Where the fuck am I?
Looks around. About 40 feet away from my ship. You should increase that number.
Kind of just does that thing where he just like licks his teeth behind his mouth and just getting
It's-
all the cotton mouth out. And
Licks his teeth, instantly regrets it.
He's like, ah, god damn. Can I get one for the road?
No.
Oh, bastard. Gets up, kind of pats himself off.
I sort of point in the direction of the largest building I can see, not caring what it actually is, and just like, This is a gladiatorial planet. I'm sure you'll find work.
All right. That's fair. I guess. Well, I can honestly say I hope I never see you again. And he starts to hobble off.
If I see you in a mech opposite me on a battlefield again, I won't take prisoners next time.
Same. As he does the lazy, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Screw you too, buddy.
And he makes his way onto the sidewalk and kind of just puts a hand up and starts using that as he hobbles down the street.
Next time we see him, he's going to be the most famous gladiator in the sector.
That's fine, so long as it's not on the other side of the battlefield.
This turns out he founded Chandrasekhar and Herschel. At least in this continuity.
But yeah.
If he ends up in one of those big ass Space Marine mechs, I'm going to take it from him. Ooh, toy.
But yeah, so you guys have landed. You have offloaded cargo. You have, yeah. You guys.
Time to start looking for hands. We've got mana to spread around and looking for workers that want to get off planet.
Are there any fights on the schedule?
There are, so in the where is it? The mainstream big ticket fighters, there are a few scheduled, and then there are street level, I guess you would say, what was it? Crap, it's professional and then
Independent circuit.
Yeah, basically independent circuit fights going on as well. Which would you want to try to recruit from?
I'm definitely far more into the indie scene than the mainstream stuff.
Oh, Ma's just going to watch.
So Ma's probably big ticket fights.
Yes, 100%.
I think Valkyrie wants to see what the big deal is about this, so.
Oh my gosh, yes. Who will come with Ma to the fights?
Valkyrie will come along, if nothing else.
And Asfred will follow just out of morbid curiosity.
I will to Sparky. You should go with them.
Come on, Sparky. Come on.
I want to see how bad this spectacle fighting is.
Part of the job is knowing when to relax.
It's not easy.
No, it's not. That's why you go watch some people beat the shit out of each other.
Not my first choice for entertainment, but I guess I have nothing better to do if we are sure the ship is secure.
It'll be fine.
Right.
I gave Diamir access to the gun.
Not to mention we have a very angry, potentially living mech on board.
That too.
All right.
Hear a baby giggle as you walk off the cargo bay. No, I'm just kidding.
Also, we have a lizard.
You have made the right choice. All right, now I might have to walk you through this because there have recently been some upheavals. So last time, Big Zor came out, and then there's the Thundertaker. Right now, he used to be a face, but now he's a heel. But now it's ready for this, and then it just continues on.
While they're going that way, I'm going to look for. I'm basically going to look for the underground scene. The place where it's not actually wrestling, it's just people fucking fighting.
Yep. Yeah, that's not hard enough to find.
People who follow the first rule.
So you happen upon in a Actually, go ahead and roll.
I have skills.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think you have something that would help with this.
spot, stay cool, or get somewhere quickly are the three that might apply.
Let's see. Where are you at?
Hidden or difficult to make out could be a good descriptor for the underground circuit.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll with the spot.
Would my organizational influence apply since I'm actively looking to hire people?
Yeah, because you guys are what at 4 right now?
Yes, it'd be a +4 it'd be an additional +4 to the roll if it applied.
Yeah. So go ahead and
So that's going to
because
be
you have made a little bit of a name for yourself, more in this sector than any. Word has gotten around.
a +6 for a 25.
Yeah. So within about 20 minutes, you're actually approached by somebody that saw you land. They say that they saw you land and got a peek at the inside of your ship and saw the mechs and offered you, gave you a location to meet if you were interested in making some mana. And within short order, you make it there, and you see one fight already going on between an Everest and a Berserker, with a handful of other mechs pretty much waiting in line on opposite sides of what used to be probably a underground parking garage that has been quote unquote renovated to accommodate mech fights.
Nice.
But yeah.
I'm going to spend some time inquiring about I'm just going to spend some time inquiring about the Everest pilots and things. I need to step away from the computer for just a second.
Okay.
I ordered food and it just got dropped off.
All right. So, on the other hand,
Yeah.
you three make it to the main event. You guys have enough to make it in. Any provisions and snacks you want as you watch, you're able to watch. These are the first fight that you see on the ticket. The big fight, one of the big fights, is a pair of berserkers fighting against each other. And then scheduled up next is a Goliath and a priest versus an Aegis and an assassin. That is supposed to, according to the ticket, promise to be a very good show. That these four have a particular rivalry going on. That Ma is all into.
It's David and the Goliath versus the assassin. Sunday.
But yeah, so Oni, you inquire. That's actually the only Everest pilot here.
Okay.
They go by the call sign Reborn. And the berserker that's fighting them currently goes by the call sign Ares. They are a pair. They're not the main attraction here, but the biggest fight was whoever got to fight the Everest, because it's the only Lancer that's down here.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch the fight, see how it goes.
They don't go till explosion, but they go until someone taps out. And let's see, I'll have two of you roll a d20.
Sure, let's see what happens.
I'll roll the other
19.
4.
So it's very close. But Eventually, the Berserker gets the upper hand and through technicality trips up and immobilizes to the point where they have a straight shot to the cockpit if they were going till death. So that fight is called. They get up, and it's weird to see mechs do the fist bump.
Yeah.
And like, hey, good job. Good fight. But they go to the respective sides, and then the next mechs step up, and this one is a fight between a Spectre class mech and Demolisher class mech, respectively. The Demolisher is call sign Dozer, and the Spectre is call sign Viper. Their fight.
So as I'm watching, and you don't have to go through
Mhm.
each one.
Yeah.
As I'm watching, I'm basically looking for. I've already eyed the Lancer, but amongst the non-Lancers, I'm looking for people who are moving in such a way that it seems like they could be Lancers if they were given the opportunity, kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's probably about 20 other mechs just milling about, waiting for their turn. About, let's see, 6 or 7 of them possibly could pilot a Lancer. They look like they have the it's hard to describe.
I'm also watching the fights, so that like the
Yeah.
ones that are moving in mech during the fights for the ones.
Yeah,
that are,
you can tell who's more comfortable inside of a mech
Yeah.
than somebody that this is their weekend hobby. Because, why not?
So about like excluding the Everest, like 6 other pilots.
Yeah, 6 or 7 other.
Sort of a
Um,
weekend mech warrior thing.
Exactly.
After the bouts, I'll go track down either them or someone who can get me in touch with them, and basically get a message to each pilot, basically saying, "Got a Lancer company recruiting pilots and Lancers. Could be a chance to earn your could be a chance to earn your Lance. Pays well. Going into combat real soon." And sort of give them the directions to the or just report, if interested, report to the DRSMC Bifrost. So and so a doc.
Okay. Let's see. Go ahead and roll.
We can probably go over that, like what that result is next week if you'd like.
Yeah, because I think
Or
we're
next
actually
session.
yeah, because I think we're gonna go ahead and call it tonight.
Well, one more thing that I personally want to know is
Yeah.
Valkyrie's keeping an eye on Asfred and wants to see how much this trying to be broody teenager is getting into the spectacle of these mech fights.
He's definitely enjoying the like physical combat spectacle of it. But when they don't land the killing blow, she's like, why not? You had him. You had her. Why not? You had them. Why?
And she just she's sort of like leaning against the wall behind Asfred, is just kind of like slowly just smirking as she watches the actual 16-year-old come out from under the brooding shell.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sparky is thoroughly confused by all the pageantry and showmanship of the storylines that these events unfold.
I feel like
So,
Maz. I feel like
especially since the tactical projections she comes up with are vastly different than the ones they're talking about before a fight.
Yeah, you're sizing them up like, all right, statistically, there's a better chance of winning. Why not?
I feel like Maz is just talking the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's constant things like watching. It's like, oh no. See what? No, because that one there used to be managed by the other one's manager, but then they switched managers. But then this one now, you see what you don't understand. No, No,
More,
no.
this one
No,
has a tenuous grasp on mathematics at the best of times.
Okay, no, because it only looked like they were leaving an opening. Because what you don't know, you see, that's that one's special move where they're winding up and evaluating things. You see,
Did
You mean like a core? You mean like a core protocol of a mech assessing the situation?
yes, sort of. Except it
what,
looks.
what was he talking about with the 63 and a third % chance before this fight went off? What was?
Yes, I don't understand that either.
And while the pair of you watch in confusion for separate reasons, and the other two are just enjoying the spectacle,
Yeah.
that's where we're going to call it for the night.
All right. Say goodbye, everybody.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.